So guys, I wanted to share this message because I decided to stop drinking coffee completely and caffeine in general. And I was a pretty fucking heavy user. Like honestly, if you knew me back then, I used to take like double, triple espresso shot in my coffee machine, and then I added some ginger and then some pepper into it to overcharge my adrenal glands to produce even more adrenaline and more cortisol before I went to the gym. So I was a pretty heavy caffeine user, honestly, like minimum 6 per day, not on Sundays and not on Saturday. And I'm going to tell you, for some of you who, this is going to be like a completely off topic video in this channel, but I think it's important to understand that whenever you use something that you cannot normally function without, it becomes a drug. It becomes something really addictive. Now, obviously you can tell, oh, I can't live or I can work without my phone. That's another thing, right? It's a technological tool. But when you don't feel yourself without a certain external substance, then there is something wrong. And I couldn't function properly without coffee. So this video basically is for some of you who are looking to stop coffee, who are binge watching about those videos about guys quitting coffee, and I was inspired to make one of my own. But I'm going to tell you my way to quit coffee, or how I found out it was possible even to quit coffee, and how I started to entertain the idea of stopping drinking coffee, was actually because I started to take care of my hair. And I know it sounds weird, right? So I have this project. It's to basically get a long, luscious, beautiful Viking hair around here, basically. And I started this process like I think a month ago or something like that. So that's why you see hair in front of my eyes and stuff like that, because I realized that balding is actually unnatural. And balding is something that society has accepted as natural or genetics, but it's truly more epigenetics, meaning like yes, you have the potentiality in your genes of balding, but it's your lifestyle, your vibration. So you see, it's kind of like on topic with this channel. But with your lifestyle, your vibration, how you think, how you feel on a day-to-day basis, that will inevitably decide if you activate the balding pattern gene or not, right? Every single gene has a positive and negative expression, right? For instance, cancer cells are a proliferation of negative expression of a certain gene. And on the other side, when you have regeneration cells, it's the opposite, right? It's like you're a certain gene that produces regeneration cells and therefore regenerate your cells in your body. That's how this gene is, for instance, positively activated. But so I realized that balding was unnatural. I realized that not having long, beautiful hair is just more so a societal programming than anything else. And obviously it depends, right? This is like a very niche type of topic. But either way, my point was I started wanting to do hair maxing. And that led me to get a bit deeper into looks maxing. Now I know it's super trendy these days, but I was in looks maxing even before that. I started looks maxing basically back in 2020. If you look at old pictures of me, I didn't look like I look now, and I still have a long way to go. I'm nowhere near perfect, but I didn't necessarily went full on looks maxing back then. But either way, my point was, okay, well, if I'm taking care more of how I am aesthetically pleasing, or my physical appearance, might as well take care of my face as well. And I found this picture. I'm gonna pull it up in post editing. That really, truly shocked me. I saw these two girls before and after when they reduced the cortisol in their body, and I was like, wow, I'm actually, I'm pretty impressed. And I've always had, back then I always had some puffy cheeks, and I was like, how come I have a six-pack, I'm eating healthy, but I still have some puffy cheeks? Not today necessarily, but back then I had that, right? I was like, does it mean that I need to get extremely lean? No, it's not that, right? It's more inflammation, water retention, and all that stuff. And this picture of those two girls, I really, really resonated with it. They shocked me, right? And I was like, okay, cortisol face, how do you reduce that? And what is elements that are stressing me out, basically, right? Obviously, there's a bunch of things that on a day-to-day basis stress you out. It could be your girls, your girlfriend, your businesses, big deals, whatever it is. But what is it that is chronically stressing me? You see what I mean? Because obviously, ups and downs in business, ebbs and flows, like everybody with the relationships, with your wife, whatever it is, right, with your kids, all of that is ebbs and flows. It's not constant. You have ups and downs. And the problem is, I always saw a lot of studies around cortisol where chronic cortisol or chronic stress was leading to, or was causes, and it was basically linked to cancer, was linked to all these autoimmune diseases. So that also tilted in my head. But I was looking, okay, what is the one thing that I do or that is chronically stressing me out? So for some of you, it may not be coffee, right? It may be that toxic girlfriend, for instance, or it may be that toxic business partner or anything like that. And actually, I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty fucking damn optimized in every single aspect of my life. What is the one thing that is stressing me out? Coffee. Coffee is proven to drastically spike your cortisol level in your adrenal, or your adrenaline and your adrenal glands, right? So I was like, okay, let me try to stop that for a bit, just for the aesthetic look at the thing, right? Don't call me gay, right? We all want to be to be more attractive at some point, right? So I was kind of like, I'm just starting off this kind of like this journey. Basically, it's been 2 weeks now, 16 days that I'm off coffee, and then I started to fall into the rabbit hole of why we should stop drinking coffee. And I found a bunch of studies, a bunch of YouTube videos, but mostly studies that showed, and even testimonials of people stopping coffee, telling how it completely changed their lives. And a few things that I want to share with you in this video really resonated with me. Number one, I was always sick and tired of feeling like I always needed to get shit done during my caffeine period, basically, right? You know what I mean? Like, it's like you take your coffee and then you're like, okay, I have 4 to 6 hours of productive work and then I can't do shit anymore because you have the crash. I didn't like that. And shout out to one of my best friend who doesn't drink coffee. He will recognize himself, and he is always super productive, super high energy. He doesn't drink coffee. It's not in his culture. He doesn't like the taste, whatever. He doesn't need that, right? He's eating once a day and he's filled with energy every single, like, constant high energy levels. So that's one thing where it's like, maybe I should emulate that aspect of what he does. And then people that got off coffee explained that, yeah, they were having like pretty damn high energy level throughout the day. And I was sick and tired of having these spikes, right? Because energy and emotion are closely linked. Emotions are literally energy in motion, energy in movement. So I was like, sometimes I was feeling a bit down for nothing, and I didn't know why. And I think it was because I was having the crash, right? The crash of energy because of the caffeine. Now, obviously, that didn't prevent me from seeing success in every single aspect, right? Health, wealth, relationships. But you always want to get it to the next level, right? You always want to be more yourself, more authentic, more vibrantly healthy, more authentic in your relationships, have constant energy and focus throughout the day to be able to generate more money or have a better impact on your business. And so that's how the rabbit hole started. And honestly, guys, I'm going to tell you, day 1 and 2, nothing happened. Day 1 and 2, nothing happened because it was like, okay, I was pretty used to not drinking coffee in the weekend, so it was to be expected. But day 3, it was, I don't remember how long ago it was that I was so irritable. I usually love myself pretty damn much, and I didn't know why, but I had this deep self-hatred towards myself. And even some of my friends, some of my entrepreneurship friends, they were like, hey, you're not yourself today. And that was, I discovered later, because I didn't understand why it happened, I discovered later that it was one of the withdrawal effects of coffee. Then it clicked. I was like, okay, if those withdrawal effects are so bad that it literally kills your mood that much, okay, it's definitely something that I need to get off of. And so I'm gonna tell you, it's funny because the first week was hell. The second week also, to be honest, the first week was very low energy, low motivation. So it was really hard. It was harder, not really hard. It was harder than usual, because nothing is really hard in life when you have the proper belief system. It's really just a matter of gamifying the belief system. But the first week was really low motivation, low energy. Even like my first workout without caffeine was shit. It was shit, but still I managed somehow to get it through. And it's funny because from when I'm off coffee, now I feel more intentional in my workouts. I go less with the flow. I'm less like in this going with the motion type mode. I'm super intentional in the muscle-mind connection, much more than when I'm high cortisol because of the coffee. That's something for you guys as well if you want to build muscle and have this better control of and intentionality in your workouts. So I was doing that. First week, low motivation, low energy. Second week, low mood. But it's funny because it's like it was ups and downs again. And again, that's one of the withdrawal effects of stopping coffee, because your body's so used to having these ups and downs because of coffee, so it naturally follows through what your nervous system is used to feeling. So literally I had like ups and downs out of fucking nowhere. And again, this, instead of saying, oh, maybe I should have a coffee. By the way, huge headaches the first few days, so get clear on that, get prepared for that. But I was like, okay, if that tells me, instead of telling myself, okay, I should have taken another coffee just to make sure that I feel better. No, that was a sign again that I should completely stop coffee, completely. So that was one sign. And now I finally feel not only my vibration with people is 10 times better, because I feel like I have much more control and I'm much more intentional in the vibration that I have with people. So it's much easier for me to be super present with people and sending them waves of love, for instance, right? You know this feeling, right? When you have practice, kind of like when you're a bit aware spiritually wise or quantum physics wise, or you've trained your charisma, you know that the 3 pillars of charisma, for instance, is presence, warmth, and power. Because it's not a charisma masterclass here, but basically you cannot grab the attention of somebody if you're not present with them. You need to make them the center of your world, the most important person in the room. Number 2, nobody respects somebody who can get all walked over. So you need some kind of authority, whether it's your expertise, your body, your presence, your aura, how you dress, whatever it is. You need some kind of authority that people can respect or look up to be able to perceive you as charismatic. And last but not least, you need to kind of like balance it with some warmth. Because if you're very present and you're super authoritative, you look like a psychopath. But if you add some warmth, then immediately you become super charismatic, because people feel like they can confide into you as well, right? Either way, that's not the point. But I was much more in control of my presence, my vibration, and the vibration that I sent to people. And therefore, the repercussions that people, the positive repercussions that people gave to me, right? That was also one aspect. And another aspect was sleep. I used to wake up every single day super groggy. Literally, like for a few hours after I woke up, I used to feel super groggy. And I didn't understand why I felt this way. Why would I fucking feel groggy? Right? Maybe it was because I didn't sleep well. No, that's a bullshit narrative. That's bullshit. It's because you still have so much caffeine in your body that prevents you. My friend is looking at me and he's making fun of me. You have so much caffeine also in your system, right? That prevents you from truly building melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, basically. And it's even the caffeine still keeps in your body for weeks. That's what they don't tell you in the studies, but is still in your system, and your body takes weeks to completely eliminate it. Even a month for some people, depending on how fast your metabolism is, right? But either way, my point being, why I did that is also because I wanted to have better sleep. And you know how sleep is so fucking important when you're trying to excel in every single aspect, and you're trying to stay calm in super stressful situation. If you're a high level entrepreneur and you're dealing with millions, if you're a high level entrepreneur, you're dealing with millions, you're super fucking stressed, right? Or obviously you get used to it, but when it's the first times or stuff like that, you have a lot of pressure and you need to be able to handle that. A lot of problems. Obviously, if you're ambitious and you're trying to excel in every single aspect, you are going to have God and the universe is going to give you certain challenges to prove to yourself that you're ready for that next level. of excellence in every single aspect. So obviously there's more pressure, more stress, more challenges involved in your life that is inevitably going to happen. So sleep is a huge part of your hormonal optimization, cortisol, therefore food discipline, because you know that if you're sleep deprived, your brain is looking for dopamine because it's high cortisol, because it didn't optimize your cortisol level. Therefore, you're looking for more dopamine. Therefore, usually the easiest way your body is going to look for dopamine is to eat. So you're going to eat more, and you're not going to follow your disciplined diet. So that's also a part of that as well. If you want to build more muscle, if you want to get more jacked, whatever it is, staying calm and not irritated, staying stoic when it comes to dealing with your girl or whatever it is, super fucking important, especially if you have a highly feminine woman that can get very yin, so yin and yang, right? Get very chaotic. All of this, and you need a good amount of sleep. Now, everybody is different, obviously, but the quality of sleep is the most important one. And if you have caffeine that's kind of like blocks your adenosine receptors, because that's literally what it does, and your adenosine receptors is the thing that allows you to feel sleepy over time. If the caffeine blocks that, and then you have a crash, but your problem is because your body doesn't see that as normal regulation, they're like, okay, there's a problem. The body is not shutting down because it's blocked by the caffeine. We need more adenosine receptors, but it's more blocked by the caffeine. So then when the caffeine kind of like wears off, you get a huge crash. That's why, because you have too much adenosine receptors that are basically responsible for you feeling sleepy and getting and slowing down, basically. And then that's why you feel groggy as well, because you have too much adenosine receptors. That's why you feel groggy every single morning. You should feel fucking rested, bro. Like when you sleep for 8 hours and you get your soul to do some astral travel, unconscious astral travel, because your soul is not sitting there when your body is asleep. It's going. That's a topic for another video. But basically, the point is, you want to optimize all of that. It's not normal for you to fucking sleep 8 hours and feel groggy and fucking sleep deprived or tired. It's not normal. That's one of the reasons. And so I'm going to tell you, I'm only at day 16, so I expect a lot more benefit, but already I can tell you immediately when I wake up, I'm ready to work. I have high energy. I'm much more motivated these days in the morning. Obviously I still have my beautiful Godlike Reality Metaphysical morning routine, which puts me on high super fucking frequency. And it's funny because it's the perfect time for me to stop that, because I've had a few challenges in the last couple of weeks, more personal challenges, honestly, but that would have taken a lot of mental tolls in my mind if I was under caffeine. And I also took some pretty damn quote-unquote hard decisions personally as well in my life these last few weeks. And I think I wouldn't have been able to do so if I was under caffeine, because caffeine and cocaine, weirdly enough, they're very much linked in terms of how you pronounce them, right, and the word itself. And I've fortunately that nothing happens by accident. So I've already taken cocaine back in the days, right, and that was when I was purposeless. I followed the societal programming. I didn't have any purpose, and therefore I ended up doing parties and drugs and whatever. And when you are under cocaine, you feel invincible. That's upside, obviously, because you feel more courageous, but that's also a downside, because then you are not balancing properly the decision making. The decision making is off completely, right? Don't take big decisions when you're under cocaine. And the thing is this, caffeine is kind of like the same thing. How many of you, when you drink caffeine or when you drink your cup of coffee, do you feel this rush of invincibility, right? I remember when I was going to the gym, I was like, I chugged down my 4 espresso shots, and I felt like this rush of adrenaline and this invincibility. The problem is when you feel invincible, yes, you should feel invincible because you're a child of God, you're a particle of the divine, right, of divine consciousness, you're a holographic incarnation of the divine, of God, technically, right? So yes, of course, you should feel invincible, but sometimes this invincibility, there's always positive sides and negative sides, prevents you from making the logical decision, because you think you can handle everything at once right now. And sometimes you can't. So either way, it's good also for the decision making. So if you're looking to quit caffeine or quit coffee in general, you'll realize that the first few days, the first few weeks even, are going to be sometimes very difficult, sometimes even hell. because your brain, like literally your brain and your body is craving for that addiction because you don't feel yourself anymore. And the thing is this, bro, he's continuously doing that. And the thing is this, if you cannot feel yourself without a drug or an external stuff in your life, then it means it loses its entire benefit. That's the problem. So I feel much more in control of my energy, my emotions, and I get to decide. I'm much more intentional in the vibration that I input into the universe. And for those of you who are high performers, you know that it's not just about hard work. It's not just about working smart. It's much more than that. It's about working multidimensionally, and the vibration, the aura that you consistently emit into the universe, right? Literally, if you look at the map of consciousness, your aura, following the frequency chart, the frequency determines the strength and the broadness and the quality of your aura, if you will. And your aura is literally what determines how many potential sexual partners you attract when you enter a room, how many people trust you immediately for business meetings, and even your vibration deeply impact, that's what we call psychobiology and neuroimmunology. Your vibration, your thoughts and your vibration, your frequency, how you feel in your heart deeply impact the regeneration of your entire body and how you destroy sicknesses. For instance, I have my client Anona. The moment we elevated her vibration and her frequency, because if you're new to this channel, what I help people do is I reprogram the subconscious mind for them to stop self-sabotage with their old programming, the societal programming. So we have a clean slate. Then we put the winning programming linked to their goals, and we elevate their frequency to supercharge every single action that they take. And then we give them a quantum business blueprint to elevate and apply that in their already existing business, brick and mortar, online, or if they want to create an online business, basically. So it's linked to prosperity, but the byproduct of that is that you get to see and excel in every single aspect. And so shout out to my client Anona, because when we started to do that, she had if I'm not mistaken, I think she had lung problems and hip problems. And it's funny because she actually impressed her doctor and her physician when she came back to the physician, because she elevated her vibration so much that they got rid of the problems, the health problems that were supposed to be there for months to years and take months to years to heal. That's what truly happens when you elevate your vibration and your frequency. And why do you think we are so magnetized, right? Obviously, why do you think we are so magnetized to people who are charismatic? Well, because your body subconsciously knows that if somebody has a high aura, it means that they're healthy and potentially you can mate with them. That's also, we can talk about looks maxing and the symmetry of the face and all of that. And the fact that men like a certain type of woman because they're fertile, and women like a certain type of men because they showcase security. But also your aura is the thing that speaks before you do, even before looks, right? Your aura and your pheromones are basically essentially the invisible stuff that decides if you get to attract a vast majority of people or not, whether it's for sexual relationships or business partnerships, for instance. And your aura is really, really, truly powerful. And why are we magnetized to people who have this kind of aura? Not necessarily, we all know people, by the way, that have aura without being crazy good looking. Well, it's because the aura and the frequency, the vibration speaks before you do. And this is, if somebody is a high vibe, we know that they are we unconsciously know that they're not naturally going to attract great things in their lives: security, money, prosperity, abundance, opportunities, but also they're very healthy because the vibration and the aura literally has, that's what we call, this is literally what they've proven in epigenetics and neuroimmunology, literally has a positive impact on their body, and they're able to regenerate their body much quicker. So either way, all of that to say that it was also, therefore it started to remove the puffiness and reduce the inflammation, the cortisol in my face because of the hair. But it also, I fell down to the rabbit hole. Then it became really prevalent for the energy levels that I wanted to keep constant as an entrepreneur and a guy who wants to be a top performer in every single aspect. I can't allow myself to have dips in my energy. I need to be constantly high energy all the time. And this is one of the research that they've done, is actually I found that after a few months, I think 1 or 2 months, guys, or the people that stopped drinking coffee and stopped caffeine altogether, their body naturally adapted to the level the level of themselves under caffeine, but times 2, times 1.5 to times 2, meaning that you literally have twice as much, 1.5 to twice as much energy naturally without the negative effects when you are under caffeine. Just imagine that. Pretty damn badass, right? So I'll let you guys post it about that as well. Some even talked about God mode energy, like you can do anything, like you constantly are inspired. That's a big thing as well. When you're a content creator on YouTube, for instance, or you're an entrepreneur, you need to be creative. You need to find new marketing campaigns. You need to hook certain type of clients in a certain way. You need to take care of a lot of different things. You need to be creative in problem solving. That's why people pay you, because you are a creator. You are creating a solution for their problems. So if you want to be creative, it's linked to your energy. Like, was there ever a time where you were extremely creative when you were sleep deprived, super anxious, super stressed, or when you were low energy? No. Inspiration is a high energy and high emotional state, right? So again, linking it back, if you want to be more creative to make more money, right? Prosperity, and even like being more witty in dates or anything like that, you need to do what? You need to be more inspired, higher, therefore higher energy. Therefore, you can't allow yourself to have a drug that literally borrows energy from tomorrow to give it to you today. You can't do that, right? You need to have constant energy levels. You need to be clear in your mind. Brain fog, no more brain fog, super clear. And that's only day 16. I'm not even supposed to have these benefits until like the third week is over or the first month is over. So God mode energy, and then obviously sleep, hormonal optimization, and the aura, which is something that I've really truly seen and felt. So guys, if you've ever kind of like wondered if you should quit coffee and you don't really know why you should quit coffee, again, you continue doing you. I know some of you, need a bunch of coffee to get through the day or whatever, but kind of like ease it off, right? I just did cold turkey. I was sick and tired of not being 100% control of my energy levels. So I did cold turkey. And as I told you, first day, cool, because my body was used to and had the belief system of it not needing coffee in the weekends to kind of like chill. The third day was awful. Headaches, irritability, anger, self-hate, all of that. But I went through that. I went through that lump. And now I can feel that I'm progressively getting more and more and more and more and more and more energy every single day. And the most beautiful thing really and truly is like I wake up, I'm creative, and I'm instantly feel inspired. And I'm much more in control of my reactions when it comes to stressful events, people, circumstances, conditions, and events. And for those of you who have watched my How to Enter the Winning Timeline and Quantum Jump into a Reality That You Desire, you know that this is extremely, extremely important to control your reaction, because every single time you control your reaction, you send a message to your subconscious mind. This is how we respond to stressful situations from now on. And what does it mean? It means literally that, metaphysically and quantum physically, it literally means that you are sending a new signal to the universe. You're sending a new identity signal, because only somebody who has worked on themselves and who has transcended a certain challenge, a stressful situation, is ready for the next level, right? That's why you've seen life tends to happen in cycles and in patterns, right? You still keep attracting the same problems over and over again until you actually transcend it. No matter the distance, no matter if you change location, no matter what you do. That's what we say, heaven and hell are not locations, they're a state of consciousness. You can be in the most beautiful place, like this for instance, and still be in a hellish mental state, and therefore you can't possibly enjoy the moment. And you can be in the worst. You can be like when I was broke, I was in a fucking tiny studio in Canada, but I was so much working on myself, and so I was so much working on my consciousness elevation that I had literally states of ecstasy and bliss, and I felt like heaven, even though I had like nothing, right? So again, heaven and hell are not locations, they're a state of consciousness. That's why. And you need to be able, if you want to live a blissful life, a serene life filled with gratitude, filled with blessings in health, wealth, relationships, monetary prosperity, abundance in terms of clients, abundance in terms of relationships, vibrant health, you need to be able to control all the levers, and the most important levers that have an impact on that. And so that's my whole speech basically on why I stopped coffee. I'm not telling you should stop coffee, but if you were my best friend, I would definitely recommend it. So you do what you want, right? But one of my best friend doesn't drink coffee, and he's high energy all the time. And also, by the way, Tony Robbins, I'm sure you guys know him if you're in the personal development sphere. The guy is constantly high energy. He doesn't drink coffee, right? So, and then you have counter examples of guys who drink coffee all the time. They're super high energy all the time. They're crazy and stuff like that. I mean, try it out. Try it out for 30 days and see how you feel. Try it out for 3 months and see how you feel. I feel much more in control of my energy, my sleep, my aura and vibration, which is the most important thing when it comes to attracting life-changing opportunities, and when it comes to doing the same. This is exactly what I help my clients do. It's literally like rewire your identity, rewire your subconscious to automatically, and elevate your frequency to automatically attract insane opportunities and the next level of income. Because prosperity is really just a mind game, right? It's not an outer game. Stop trying to change outer reality, change yourself. Get more in control and more in a relaxed surrender, but in a relaxed control as well with whatever you're trying to do in life. So yeah, guys, I'm telling you, there's a lot of benefits to stopping coffee. I didn't list them all. If you guys like this type of video where it's more like you and I, more of a raw talk, you let me know in the comments if you want me to do more of those coffee talks or kind of like things that I do to optimize my health, my results. And I have a tendency of being quite autistic, as you've understood, right? Only a autistic guy who really truly want to exceed at the world-class level would do that, because you couldn't just go with the masses. But again, it's the cheapest drug that they've told you to consume. Again, remember, caffeine and cocaine has kind of like the same. I think I'll pull up the study or the picture that I found, where it basically states that caffeine is literally like a mini cocaine thing. It literally does the same thing as cocaine, but like a smaller. It's like the smaller brother or the little brother of cocaine. And it's funny because now that I think about it, I had the same kind of like feeling when I took the big brother cocaine and when I took the little brother caffeine. So either way, I have a tendency of going against the grain, against the masses. I always tell you guys to do that, to go against the masses. Remember, if you haven't watched the formula that I've created after 9 years of study of neuroscience, psychobiology, metaphysics, quantum physics, spirituality, God, potential, the esoteric knowledge of the universe, you should go check out the video on how to make the universe skyrocket your wealth, and basically tell you that one part of the equation is literally the number of constant anomaly action that you take every single day. What does it mean to anomaly action? It's literally you look at what the mainstream is doing or the masses are doing, and you're going against the flow. And I couldn't properly call myself an anomaly if I was doing exactly what 85% of Americans do, aka drink some fucking coffee every single day, right? And it's like literally the cheapest drug that you can create, honestly. Like it literally costs a few cents and they sell it to you to a few dollars. So it's the biggest profitable industry. I think it's like one of the biggest, if not the biggest profitable industry. Huge lobby. That's why they've created also studies telling you it's good for the heart, it's good for the brain, it's good for all of that. Be very careful when you read studies. Look who funded the studies, because oftentimes those studies obviously are owned by the lobby to direct the information and the belief systems of the masses. And when you control the belief system of somebody, you control their actions, and therefore you can make them do whatever you want, right? That's classic manipulation or propaganda. So be very careful and be sovereign in every single aspect, right? So that's it for me, guys. Love you guys all. Thank you so much for the love that I've received under the YouTube videos that I've created. Love you guys so much. Let me know in the comments if you like these types of videos, and I'll gladly oblige. I'm feeling much more productive because I quit coffee. I'm feeling much more creative, much more inspired to give you guys the sauce. So whatever questions you want, ask them in the comments, and it'll be my pleasure to help you guys out. See you soon. Ciao.